Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope your day is going well. And today's video, I am going to show you the steps that I take in order to have a productive and effective PLC. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and let you see my first steps that I do and the action items after that in order for my teachers to be prepared to come to the meeting and ready to rock and roll. All right, guys, 1 second. Now, what you are observing is the PLC agenda and all of the resources that I want my teachers to have access to. I hyperlink them so there's no question on where to find what. Because often teachers become irritated, to be frank, when they kind of keep looking for documents that you're saying, oh, you have it, you have it. So I put it on this form on a weekly basis and I send that out like the Friday before. Okay, people, I am back. I forgot about the fire drill that I scheduled. Please don't judge me too harshly. But I'm gonna turn back. Everything is settled. All the kids are back where they need to be. And it actually went pretty quickly, even though I was 30 seconds late because I forgot the timeline. But luckily my teammates had my back, and so we had a smooth fire drill. So next, I was supposed to be walking you all through my PLC document, and then I'll show you the actual slide deck that I use when I am having a PLC. All right, guys, give me 1 second. So as I was saying before the fire drill, that I always put the information on the PLC agenda and I hyperlink it. So therefore the teachers can have access just by clicking the stem. So as you can see, we're going to go over our data trackers. We review the nonfiction data of the genre of the week. We review our star question stems. We create our LLC. We also review our exemplar or create one if need be. Review our one-stop shop that is created by our instructional lead coaches. Then we go over a test strategy that a teacher will model. And then of course we review any resources that I have added. And last but not least are the grammar resources. Our focus this week will be sentence fragments and then any MTSS instructions because we need to knock that out before Thanksgiving. All right, let me show you what's next. So of course we begin with our celebrations, our week at a glance, unpacking the no-show chart, going over our success criteria, reviewing our exemplar, and then we have a teacher a week that models the I do, and then we give our peer feedback and next steps and reminder. And so this is a basic Google slide deck with the PLC agenda, and we just make sure that we hit all of these highlights as we go throughout the PLC. And so, of course, we have our mission and vision again, our norms, and we all agree what we're going to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable to. And next thing we do, we go over celebrations. What good news that we want to share with our team. It could be something as simple as a student finishing a chapter book or one of their students having the highest test data in the state. So it could be something as small or as big, depending on how you look at it. But the main thing is we want to celebrate our students' success. Next thing, we go over our lesson plans and my expectations. And let me move this up a little higher. You see here is what I will be looking for because I do my teacher observations and I don't want anybody surprised on what I am looking for when I come in for the week. So those are my top 5 things that I will be looking for when I do an observation. And then I go in order. My first PLC is with 5th grade. Here is the ACP blueprint. These are the TEKS that we must teach for before the Christmas exam. Then we go over our learning goals, success criteria, and demonstration of learning. And what you will see of me, we will be viewing some checking for understandings to match the success criteria. And then we go over the academic vocabulary. Let me pull that up a little bit so you can see. So we go over the academic vocabulary of the week, and we make sure that those definitions are on the teacher's word wall. And then that's why I show this, because I want them to know these are the words I want to see on your actual word wall. And then we go over some anchor charts, our no-show chart. These are the star question stems. This is the trifold for nonfiction. And then we go over our power DOL. I'll move this up, where the expectation they need to complete that. And we make sure we have an exemplar for that as well. And then we take an opportunity to go over the exemplar review, and then we share out. And so that way everyone is on the same page, and there's no one who can teach something better than your teachers. And so we give them opportunity to shine. I started the timer, so let me pause that. And then we model our I do and go over the intentions, and we do positive feedback and upgrades as well. And pretty much, guys, here's the feedback. I'm gonna pull this up so you can see it. The I do model peer feedback and review, and we look for, is it aligned to the DOL? Is it concise language? Are the criteria visible? Does the teacher model their thinking and questioning? And do they summarize at the end? So that is part of that. And then we go over the nonfiction resource folder. I hyperlink that, but that is already attached to the PLC document. So I'll go over anything new that has not been explained before. And then it's time for questions and answers. So we have a little think time for that if all goes according to plan. And last but not least, I always thank my teachers for their hard work. And the PLC is dismissed. All right, I'll pause. So the next thing I'm going to do, I work in an old building. I do not have a smart board because all the smart boards went to where they needed to go, which is to our teachers first. So I have an old school overhead machine. I don't even know what those are called. That's how old it is. But you can still see. So what you're going to see next is just me setting up and moving the tables out. I've already sanitized everything down. And so I'm just going to put the projector, that's what it's called, a projector together and have everything linked up. And so we are able to rock and roll. So you know I need my adapter. Got my clicker system going, and now I'm about to hook up the laptop to the projector and get the screen down and have some pins ready to move so we can have a very productive PLC. I'll see you in a second. So you see here, this is the old school setup with the overhead machine. No, what is it I said earlier? Projector. Then I have my laptop over here with the clicker system and my mouse ready to rock and roll. Then of course I have my table with the resources that we're going to use, the folded LLC charts, and just so you can see here, boom, let me move out the way. I have a little screensaver on, and yes, I'm talking about old school with the pull down projector. So that is it. And I have some markers and pens and stuff. So my teachers are ready to roll when we come back. All right, guys, see you in a few. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for coming to today's PLC. So you know our goal is to grow great readers, thinkers, and future leaders with excellence and equity. So this is our agenda for today. Please take a look. All right, so we're going to skip to you all. This is the fabulous third grade rock stars. And we had a couple of people we had to move the schedule around because I had an emergency R today. So let me get to your particular grade. SCs, according to our data, is still 3.9 DI, the structural elements of nonfiction. And of course, you know, we're going to make those connections with the paired passage, which is unusual. I'm still not sure they're going to do that, but they say that they are, but we're going to be ready anyway. And of course, summarization in nonfiction. And so that will be on our focus for the SCs for next week. All right, so one of the things that I did the other day, I went to the AP training, and it was interesting because I was mixed with high school APs and junior high school APs, but I actually had the most resources. I was a little shocked because these are things that elementary has been doing for years, and now it's going to the junior high and high school level. So everyone is now really focusing on success criteria and checking for understanding, which you all know CFUs. We discussed that a couple of weeks ago. But one thing I did leave with, her name is Miss Tracy. I really appreciated her feedback, and she was saying to me, and I wanted to bring it to you all, have a checking for understanding for each success criteria. So when we're having the students to go over identifying the topic,
you will see in another video where you would have the kids go, hey, turn to your neighbor and let them tell them what the topic is. That's a checking for understanding. You're walking around and you're listening. Am I making sense? Then the next success criteria, analyze the text and determine the central idea of each section. What are we referring to? What's our strategy? Who is it about? What do they do? Or what is it about and what does it tell us? And those, when it says each section, we're really talking about the what? The subheading. Now, if it's narrative nonfiction, you know it's a paragraph. All right? So, but next week, we're really focusing on literary nonfiction. So it will most likely, your resources are going to focus on those subheadings. So the first thing you're going to do after you go over that central idea, what is the tip that I gave you typically is the central idea. What are we going to look for? At the top. There you go. Why are you looking confused? Yes, it's the title. Talking about what? Yes, ma'am. The title is typically the central idea, and the subheading is typically the central idea. So the thing you want to see on their paper, and you will see on my video, I pass out my little sticky notes, and that's the second checking for understanding. They have to draw that T box on their paper, and I'm walking around making sure they got it, and then we go into actually putting the information on the paper. So the first one is to tell your neighbor what the topic is. The second one is to draw the text box for my anchor chart. And the third one that I do is, okay guys, point to in the room where we see this anchor chart. Slowly, right now, start pulling back from the copies and get them used to seeing it on the screen. Because trust me, because I don't think any of you will have kids. These kids are on those iPads. My daughter teased my son, he's in the 5th grade, and she told his teacher, oh no, Brian's girlfriend is his iPad. So that is where we are. Miss Holly, read the success criteria. What do the kids need to be able to do?
I can identify print features. I can identify graphic features. I can generate questions about the text and graphic features. I can explain how text and graphic features add meaning to the text.
So, okay, let's pause for the calls real quick. One of the things that we need to review are print features versus graphic features. Who can tell me the difference between the two? Now, when we say generate questions, what are we asking the kids to ask themselves? What's our strategy? That's why we're here. We are going to use this right here. What is it about and what does it tell us? What are we saying to ourselves?
What is it about and what does it tell us?
Yes. So they really need to be able to do this particular one where they can refer back to it. So it's not the highlighter, compare and contrast. I would still put it in a T chart and use that vocabulary. Similar, alike, dislike, that type of thing that we discussed last week in our exemplar, okay? Moving forward, you're gonna know these questions like the back of your head. And that was the key thing, because with the checking for understanding and the success criteria, they went over HOTS, higher order thinking question stems, and they were saying we're throwing too many softballs to the kids, the basic locate and find. What is? And the higher rigor questions to get to that top tier question of mindset are actually already done for us. It's the STAR stems. Anytime you got to ask them, how does the author organize the selection? That's a higher order thinking question. Versus, what is the central idea of the selection? That's basic reading skill. When it says, which section is most likely to give information about, that's a tier 2. It's a step up above a what, but it's a tier 2. But how does is a tier 3. And so the goal is quit throwing the kids a little softballs. That could be done on day 1. But day 2, day 3, day 4, look at your LLC. They need to be on this level. If they're able to answer all of those questions, they won the game. All right, guys, thank you so much for reviewing your exemplar and taking a look at our best practices. And now we're going to move forward, and we're going to do our I Do model. Coming to the stage at this particular time, who's on program?
I'm gonna go first.
It is Miss Wilson. Let's give her a round of applause. So Miss Wilson has set down the ground rules. You are on the Unmasked Superstar show, and what you're going to model for us is how you're going to get your students to understand text features and their T-chart. Making sense? All right, let's begin. Great job. One of the things that I noticed that Miss Martinez does, she has a whole skit. All right, guys, it's the Miss Martinez time. What do? We listen. What do? We observe. What do? Don't talk and take notes. And I was like, that's a great idea. And she puts it in the bottom, you know how your little note section, to remind ourselves. Because it is so easy to keep including the kids in the conversation, because that's really what we want to do when we do the we do and the you do. But when it comes to I do, it's to stop, drop, and look and listen. And that's a good little, I'm gonna write that down. Stop, drop, look, and listen. Okay, so that's the I do. Miss Holly, do you have any other upgrades and glows or grows for Miss Wilson? What was a glow?
A glow is that you provided examples of the text features.
And a grow?
A grow is I think like I was saying, make it more of an I do instead of incorporating me for.
And then the other grow I would give for you, Miss Wilson, is have them point to your anchor charts. You already have them up in the room. Okay, guys, if I get a little confused on my text features, who can tell me where I'm going to look? Boom, all right. And then in part of your mind, you can go, you know what, let me go back over that anchor chart. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And you just practice that. Making sense? All right, great job. Thank you for being brave and coming to the stage. Miss Holly, you will be featured next week, darling. Okay, darling, I got the memo that you're tired of the green LLC chart paper, so we have orange for Thanksgiving. I received the message. All right, and we're going to close out our meeting by getting that done. Thank you guys for your participation, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, guys, welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. The teacher did not want to be on camera when she modeled her I do. She's a first-year teacher, but she really did an excellent job, but you should have been able to hear some of my feedback. If you have any comments or questions or wonderings, feel free to leave it in the comment box below. And again, I wish you lots of joy, lots of laughter, and of course, many blessings. Until the next time, I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.